They left me at the airport, so I took back everything they stole. I sent one message before my plane landed. I worked 3 years in Germany, sending every dollar home.
My younger brother, Tyler, answered first. Take an Uber, Claire. We are all busy getting ready for Mom's party. Then my mother added a thumbs up emoji. That little yellow hand told me everything I had refused to understand for most of my life. I was useful when a bill needed to be paid. I was invisible when I needed something. But they had made one serious mistake. They thought I was coming home with 2 suitcases and a broken heart. They did not know I was carrying evidence that could send 2 of them to prison. My name is Claire Bennett. I was 36 years old when I came back to Ohio on a rainy Thursday in October. I had left the United States after my father died. At the time, I told everyone I needed a change. The truth was more complicated. My father, Daniel, had built a small but successful home renovation company outside Columbus. Bennett Restoration was never famous, but it was respected. Dad repaired old houses, kept 22 people employed, and paid his bills on time. He also owned the brick house where I grew up and a small lake cabin in Michigan. When cancer took him, our family changed almost overnight. Dad's will left the company equally to Tyler and me. Mom could live in the family house for the rest of her life, but ownership would pass to Tyler and me together. The cabin went to me because Dad and I had restored it side by side when I was in college. Tyler hated that. He had always believed the company and every piece of property should belong to him because he was the son who stayed nearby. He ignored the fact that Dad had fired him twice for stealing from payroll. He ignored the years I spent doing the books after nursing school. In Tyler's version of history, he was the loyal heir and I was the daughter who escaped. 6 months after Dad died, I accepted a hospital contract in Germany. Before I left, Mom cried in the driveway and promised nothing would change. Tyler hugged me and said he would protect my share of the company. For 3 years, they called whenever they needed money. The company was short on payroll. Mom needed a new furnace. Property taxes had increased. A pipe had burst at the cabin. Tyler's daughter needed dental surgery. Every request sounded urgent. Every request came wrapped in guilt. I sent money because I loved them. Or maybe because I still hoped love could be earned through sacrifice. Then, 6 weeks before I came home, an envelope arrived at my apartment in Munich. Inside was a photocopy of a property transfer document. It showed that I had signed my half of the family house over to Tyler for $10. The signature looked like mine, but it was not mine. A small note had been folded around it. Claire, you did not sign this. Check the cabin next. Do not warn them. There was no name. I stood in my kitchen for a long time, reading those words while rain tapped against the glass. My first instinct was to call Mom. My second was to call Tyler and demand an explanation. Instead, I remembered the final sentence. Do not warn them, so I said nothing. I searched county property records online. The family house had been transferred to Tyler 11 months earlier. My signature had been notarized by a woman named Denise Holloway. The lake cabin had been transferred 3 months after that. It now belonged to an investment company called Red Maple Holdings. I had never heard of Red Maple Holdings. 20 minutes of searching showed that the company's registered address was a mailbox at a shipping store in Columbus. Its organizer was Tyler's wife, Madison. My hands went cold. I called an attorney in Ohio named Alina Ruiz. Dad had once hired her firm during a contract dispute, and I remembered him saying she was the kind of lawyer who listened before she spoke. Alina listened to everything. Then she asked one question. Does your family know when you are returning? They think it will be near the end of October. Keep it that way, she said. And from this moment forward, save every message. Over the next 5 weeks, Elena investigated quietly. The forged deeds were only the beginning. Tyler had used my false signature to remove me from the company's operating agreement. He had borrowed $800,000 against company assets. A large part of that money had moved through Red Maple Holdings. Some paid for a new house, a boat, and Madison's luxury SUV. The rest had disappeared. The company was close to collapse. Then Elena found something even worse. My mother's name appeared on several supporting documents. She had signed statements claiming she watched me sign papers during a visit to Ohio. I had not been in Ohio. My passport proved I had been working in Munich. I stared at the documents on my laptop until the words blurred. Tyler's betrayal hurt, but it did not surprise me. My mother's did. Mom had called me that same week. She told me she missed me. She asked if I could send $12,000 to repair the roof. I sent it. Bank records later showed that the roof money paid for catering and decorations for the party. They were preparing when my plane landed. It was not really Mom's party. It was an announcement party. Tyler planned to tell friends, relatives, and company employees that he had bought the business and was now its sole owner. He also planned to announce that the family house would be demolished and replaced with 2 expensive townhomes. My childhood home was going to become a sales opportunity, and I had paid for the champagne. Elena wanted me to remain in Germany until the court issued emergency orders. I refused. I needed to see my family's faces. I needed to hear their lies without a screen between us, so I booked an earlier flight and told no one. At 5:12 on Thursday evening, I walked out of the airport and saw no familiar car waiting. Mom's party was Saturday, 2 days away. Apparently, decorating required every member of my family. I took an Uber. The driver was an older man named Frank. He noticed I kept looking at the family group chat. "Bad news?" he asked. "Just finally understanding some people," I said. He nodded as if that made perfect sense. When we reached Mom's house, I saw white event tents covering the backyard. A banner hung above the front porch. "Bennet, Rastoorgrot. My brother's face was printed beneath the words, not Dad's face. Not the workers who had spent decades building the company. Tyler's face. The locks had been changed. I rang the bell. Madison opened the door wearing cream, colored pants, and holding a glass of wine. For 1 second, she looked frightened. Then she smiled too widely. "Claire! What are you doing here?" "I live here too, remember." Her eyes moved toward my suitcases. Tyler appeared behind her. "You said next week." My schedule changed. Mom came down the hallway. She looked older than she had on video calls, but not fragile. Her hair was professionally styled, and she wore the diamond earrings I had bought for her birthday. She hugged me for less than 2 seconds. "You should have reminded us about the airport," she said. I had reminded them that morning. I managed. Tyler folded his arms. "The guest rooms are full of party supplies." "Then I'll use my old room." Nobody spoke. Madison finally said, "We turned it into a dressing room." I looked past her. My family photographs had been removed from the hallway. In their place were framed pictures of Tyler, Madison, and their 2 adult children. It was as if I had already died, and they had cleaned away the evidence that I existed. Mom suggested a hotel. Tyler said he could find me a discounted room near the highway. I smiled. That sounds perfect. They relaxed because they mistook surrender for weakness. I left my largest suitcase in the hallway while I used the restroom. The suitcase contained ordinary clothes. The small carry-on beside me held my passport, Dad's original will, copies of every forged document, and a voice recorder Elena had given me. When I returned, Madison was closing the large suitcase. "Looking for something?" I asked. She jumped. I was moving it out of the way. Of course. That night, I checked into the hotel under my middle name. Alina met me in the lobby with a thick folder and coffee. She told me the court hearing was scheduled for Monday. A judge had already signed a temporary order preventing Tyler from selling the house, the cabin, or company assets. But the order would not be served until Saturday afternoon. During the party, I asked. Elena allowed herself a small smile. You said you wanted witnesses. There was one problem. We still did not know who had mailed the anonymous envelope. Elena believed it was someone inside the company. Whoever it was might possess the original accounting records. We needed to prove where the missing money went. At 10 the next morning, I received a text from an unknown number. Your father kept a second ledger. Tyler found it, but not all of it. Meet me at the old workshop at noon. Come alone. I showed Elena. You are not going alone, she said. We compromised. I would enter alone. Elena and a private investigator would wait nearby. The old workshop stood behind the company's first office, a narrow brick building Dad had rented when I was a child. Tyler used it for storage now. The parking lot was empty when I arrived. Inside, the air smelled of sawdust and motor oil. Tools hung above Dad's old workbench. Seeing them felt like hearing his voice from another room. A man stepped out from behind a shelf. It was Marcus Reed, the company's bookkeeper. Marcus had worked for Dad for 17 years. He was quiet, careful, and so honest that Dad once joked he would report a penny if it landed in the wrong drawer. You sent the envelope, I said. He nodded. Why didn't you put your name on it? Because Tyler has people watching company email. And because your mother told everyone you supported the transfer. That sentence hurt more than I expected. Marcus opened a metal cabinet and removed a plastic bag filled with photocopied invoices, bank statements, and handwritten notes. He explained that Tyler had ordered him to create payments to fake subcontractors. When Marcus refused, Tyler threatened to accuse him of stealing. Marcus began copying records for protection. Your father suspected Tyler might try something, Marcus said. A week before he died. He gave me this. He handed me a small brass key. What does it open? A safe deposit box at Franklin Community Bank. Your father said to give it to you if Tyler ever tried to erase you. I closed my fingers around the key. Why did you wait 3 years? Marcus looked ashamed. I believed your mother. She said the transfers were part of a tax plan and that you knew. Then Tyler fired 3 longtime employees and tried to make me destroy records. I checked the notarized dates. You were overseas. That was when I understood. A vehicle door slammed outside. Marcus turned pale. Through the dusty window, I saw Tyler's truck. He entered before I could reach the back door. His expression changed when he saw Marcus and the plastic bag. What is this? He demanded. I kept my voice calm. Marcus is showing me old company records. Tyler locked the door behind him. You always were curious, Claire. Dad liked that about you. I found it irritating. I touched the recorder inside my coat pocket. Did Dad's will irritate you too? Dad was sick when he signed it. So you forged my signature. For a moment, Tyler said nothing. Then he laughed. You abandoned us. I stayed. I ran the business. You were off taking pictures in Europe, while Mom and I handled everything. I sent more than $180,000 home. Money is not family. You seem to like mine. His face tightened. I asked if Mom knew about the forged deeds. He looked toward Marcus and smiled. Mom signed what needed signing. She understands loyalty. There it was, clear and cold. I wanted to scream. Instead, I asked, and the loans? The fake subcontractors. Did she understand those too? Tyler stepped closer. Give me the bag. Marcus moved between us. "Don't make this worse," Tyler said. "It became worse the moment you stole from your own employees," Marcus replied. Tyler reached for the bag. I moved back and knocked a metal tray from the workbench. The crash was our signal. The side door opened. Elena's investigator entered with two off-duty police officers she had hired for security. Tyler froze. He had not assaulted anyone, and we did not want him arrested yet. We wanted him confident enough to appear at Saturday's party. So we let him leave. As he passed me, he whispered, "Nobody will believe you over Mom." That was the moment I knew exactly what I needed to do. The safe deposit box contained a flash drive, a sealed letter, and a newer version of Dad's will. The will itself did not change our ownership shares, but it named me as the person responsible for reviewing the company if there was evidence of fraud. The flash drive held backups of company records and a video Dad had recorded from his hospital room. He looked thin and tired on the screen, but his voice was steady. "Claire, if you are watching this, Tyler has probably done what I feared. I love your brother, but love does not require blindness. Protect the workers. Protect your mother if she was pressured, but do not protect anyone from the consequences of a choice they made freely." Then Dad revealed a fact that changed everything. Years earlier, after Tyler's second theft, Dad had created an employee ownership trust. If either child committed fraud against the company, that child's shares could be transferred to the trust after a court finding. Dad had not wanted his workers to lose their livelihoods because of a family fight. Tyler believed stealing my half would give him the whole company. In reality, his theft could cost him every share he owned. Dad had built a trap out of fairness, and Tyler had walked into it willingly. Friday evening, Mom called my hotel room. Her voice was soft. "Tyler told me about the workshop." "Did he tell you why he was there?" said Marcus is trying to ruin the company. "Did you sign a statement saying you watched me transfer the house?" Silence. Then she began to cry. She said Tyler had brought papers after dinner. He told her they were temporary protections from taxes. She admitted the statement was not true, but insisted she had not understood what it could do. "Did you understand when you told relatives I gave Tyler the company?" I asked. Another silence. "He deserved a chance," she finally said. "You already had a successful life." That answer removed the last excuse I had been saving for her. "So you knew I did not agree." "Claire, families do not drag each other into court. Families do not forge each other's names." Her crying stopped. "What are you planning?" I looked at Dad's letter on the desk. "I'm coming to the party." She begged me not to embarrass Tyler. She reminded me that neighbors, employees, and relatives would be present. She said public shame could destroy him. I thought about the airport, the changed locks, the missing photographs, the workers whose retirement contributions had not been deposited for 6 months. Then he should not have planned a public celebration of stolen property, I said. Saturday arrived bright and cold. More than 100 guests gathered under the white tents. A jazz trio played near the patio. Servers carried champagne that my money had helped buy. I wore a dark blue dress and Dad's old watch. Elena stood near the back with Marcus and 3 company employees. A process server waited in his car. When I walked into the yard, conversations became quiet. Mom hurried toward me. "Please," she whispered. "Not today. Today is the only honest thing about this party." Tyler climbed onto a small stage. Behind him was a drawing of the townhomes he planned to build where our house stood. He welcomed everyone and spoke about legacy. He praised Mom. He thanked Madison for believing in him. Then he said Dad had always dreamed Tyler would lead the company into a new generation. That was a lie Dad could no longer correct. So I did. Actually, I said, loud enough for the front tables to hear. Dad left the company to both of us. Heads turned. Tyler forced a smile. My sister just returned from Europe. She has been away a long time and does not know all the recent details. I know my signature was forged. The yard went silent. Madison moved toward the sound controls. Marcus had already disconnected them from her phone. Tyler told everyone I was emotional after a long flight. I took the recorder from my purse and handed it to the musician beside the speaker system. My brother's voice filled the tent. Mom signed what needed signing. She understands loyalty. Then came his demand for the records and his admission that he believed I had abandoned the family. Employees stared at him. Relatives looked at Mom. Her face lost all color. Tyler lunged toward the speaker, but the process server stepped onto the stage and handed him the court order. You have been served. Elena announced that all transfers involving the house, cabin, and company were frozen pending a fraud hearing. She also stated that evidence of embezzlement had been delivered to the county prosecutor and federal investigators because some transactions crossed national borders. Madison tried to leave. 2 detectives waiting near the driveway asked her to stay and answer questions. They did not arrest her that afternoon, but the sight of her standing beside the luxury SUV, bought with stolen money, was enough to end the celebration. Tyler blamed Marcus. Then he blamed Madison. Finally, he blamed Mom. That was his true character. Loyalty mattered only while it protected him. Mom climbed onto the stage and reached for my hand. Claire, tell them this is a misunderstanding. I looked at her, and for a second I saw the mother who used to sit beside my bed when storms frightened me. I wanted that woman to return, but memory is not the same as truth. Did you watch me sign those papers? I asked. She looked at the crowd. No, she whispered. Did you know I had not agreed to give Tyler my property? Her eyes filled with tears. Yes. That one word ended every lie. The party dissolved. Guests left without cake. Workers gathered around Marcus and Elena. Tyler tore the court papers in half, apparently unaware that destroying his copy changed nothing. I thought the hardest part was over. I was wrong. At 9 that night, Elena called my hotel room and told me not to open the door for anyone. During the confusion at the party, someone had entered the old company office. 2 filing cabinets were empty, and the backup computer was gone. Tyler had been surrounded by witnesses, and Madison had been speaking with detectives. That meant another person was helping them. Marcus checked the security system remotely. The alarm had been disabled with a manager's code. Only 4 people had that code: Tyler, Marcus, the operations manager named Owen Price, and my mother. Mom claimed she had forgotten her code years earlier. Marcus had been at the party. Tyler could have shared his code, but the security log identified the exact number used. It belonged to Owen. Owen had worked for the company for 9 years. At the party, he had stood beside the employees and looked shocked by Tyler's recording. He had even squeezed my shoulder and said Dad would be proud of me. Now we knew his sympathy was an act. Elena told me that Owen had disappeared. His wife said he was spending the weekend at a fishing lodge. But the lodge had no reservation under his name. His company truck was found behind a grocery store, with the keys under the driver's seat. The missing records were important, but Marcus had copied most of them. The backup computer worried us more. It held customer names, employee information, and access to several old accounts. If Owen destroyed it, we would lose evidence. If he sold its data, innocent people could be harmed. At 11:30, my phone rang from a blocked number. I answered without speaking. Your brother is going to prison because of you, Owen said. His voice sounded rough and frightened. Tyler is facing prison because of Tyler's. You don't know what he has on people. Then tell me. He laughed once. You sound just like Daniel. My father trusted you. Your father never trusted anyone. That is why he kept copies of everything. I signaled to Elena, who was listening from the other side of the room. She started tracing the call with the investigator. Owen said Tyler had paid him to approve false subcontractor invoices. At first, the amounts were small. Then Tyler threatened to expose Owen's role unless he helped steal more. Owen insisted he was a victim. Victims do not break into offices and steal computers, I said. I am protecting my family. Be risking your employees' private information. He became quiet. I told him Marcus had copies and Dad had kept backups. Destroying the computer would not save Tyler. It would only add burglary and evidence tampering to Owen's own problems. Bring it back, I said. Cooperate before Tyler decides. You are more useful as the person who takes all the blame. The line went dead. The investigator could not locate him precisely, but the call had connected through a tower north of the city. Elena contacted the detectives. For the next 3 hours, nothing happened. At 3:15 in the morning, the hotel desk called. A package had been left outside the lobby doors. Inside a cardboard box was the backup computer. Taped to it was a storage unit key and a note in Owen's handwriting. Unit 2 and 14. Everything Tyler made me remove is there. I am turning myself in. The storage unit contained 6 boxes of original records, a document shredder, 2 company laptops, and something none of us expected, a suitcase holding almost $90,000 in cash. One box held copies of messages between Tyler and Owen. Those messages proved the break and had been planned before the party. Tyler believed I might expose him, so he had ordered Owen to remove the evidence if I appeared. Another message mentioned the insurance exit. At first, the phrase made no sense. Then Marcus checked the company's insurance policies. 3 months earlier, Tyler had increased the fire coverage on the main warehouse to almost twice its market value. Owen later admitted that Tyler had discussed burning the warehouse if the loans became impossible to hide. Owen claimed he never agreed, but investigators found 2 cans of fuel and an electronic timer inside the storage unit. That discovery changed the case from a family property dispute into something darker. The warehouse shared a wall with the company workshop. Night crews sometimes worked there. Tyler had been willing to risk lives to escape a financial problem he had created. When I learned that, the last piece of sympathy I had for my brother disappeared. The following morning, Mom came to my hotel without calling. I met her in the lobby because I still would not let anyone know my room number. She looked as if she had not slept. Her perfect hairstyle from the party was gone. She held a paper grocery bag against her chest. I found these in Tyler's old bedroom, she said. The bag contained letters addressed to me. Some were from Dad's former employees. One was from a college friend I had lost contact with. 2 were notices from the bank about changes to the cabin loan. Every envelope had been opened. Mom admitted that Tyler had redirected some of my mail after I moved overseas. He told her he was protecting me from unnecessary stress. She knew it was wrong, but she let him keep doing it. How many times did you choose him? I asked. She lowered her eyes. Too many. Why? Her answer came slowly. When Tyler was a child, he nearly drowned during a family vacation. Mom had looked away for less than a minute. Dad pulled him from the pool and saved him, but Mom never forgave herself. From that day forward, she protected Tyler from every consequence. Failed classes became a teacher's fault. Stolen money became a misunderstanding. Lost jobs became unfair treatment. I kept saving the boy in the pool. she said. Even after he became the man pulling everyone else underwater. For the first time, I understood her behavior. Understanding did not erase it. I asked whether she knew about the plan to burn the warehouse. Her head snapped up. What plan? I believed her surprise. I showed her a copy of Owen's message. She covered her mouth and began shaking. People could have died. Yes. She asked what she should do. Tell investigators the entire truth. Not the truth that protects Tyler. Not the truth that makes you look innocent. All of it. Imam nodded. Before she left, she placed her house key on the table. I stared at it. Why are you giving me this? Because you should never have been locked out. It was the first apology she made without using the word but. That afternoon, I returned to the family house alone. The party tents were still in the yard. Half-empty glasses stood on tables, and the banner with Tyler's face moved in the wind. I carried a ladder from the garage and took it down. Behind the banner, carved into the porch beam, were 4 small marks. Dad had measured Tyler's and my height there every birthday until we became teenagers. Tyler's marks were on the left. Mine were on the right. They were still equal parts of the same beam. Dad had never erased either child. Tyler had tried to erase me because he believed love and ownership could belong to only one person at a time. I folded the banner, placed it inside a trash bag, and locked the door behind me. As I walked out, he followed me to the driveway. "You think you won," he shouted. "You destroyed this family." I turned around. No, I stopped letting this family destroy me. The legal process lasted 11 months. Tyler and Madison eventually pleaded guilty to fraud, forgery, and theft-related charges. Tyler received prison time. Madison received a shorter sentence after cooperating and returning assets. Their new house and boat were sold. The money recovered helped repay the company and restore the employees' retirement contributions. The court invalidated every forged transfer. The lake cabin returned to me. The family house returned to the ownership structure Dad had created. Most important, the judge found that Tyler had committed fraud against the company. Under Dad's trust agreement, Tyler lost his ownership shares. Half went back to me. His half moved into the employee trust. The workers Tyler treated like servants became owners of the company he had tried to steal. I kept my half for 6 months. During that time, I helped Alina and Marcus rebuild the books, hire an honest manager, and stabilize the business. Then I sold most of my shares to the employee trust at a fair price. Paid over 10 years so the company would not be crushed by debt. I kept 5% because Dad had wanted me connected to what we built together. Mom avoided criminal charges by cooperating early, but she lost the house. That decision was mine. Dad's will allowed her to live there for life, unless she participated in fraud involving the property. The court confirmed that her false statement triggered that clause. I could have let her stay anyway. For weeks, relatives called me cruel. They said she was still my mother. They asked where she would go. None of them had asked where I would go when she changed the locks. Still, I did not put her on the street. I used part of the recovered money to rent her a modest apartment for 1 year. After that, she would be responsible for herself. I paid the landlord directly. I did not hand Mom another check. She moved out on a gray morning in December. The house felt strangely empty after her furniture was gone. I walked through every room, remembering birthdays, arguments, Sunday breakfasts, and Dad singing badly while he repaired a cabinet hinge. For a while, I considered living there. Then I understood that getting something back did not mean I had to keep it. I sold the property to a local nonprofit that turned large houses into temporary homes for women rebuilding their lives after financial abuse. They preserved the old brick exterior and named the place Daniel House. The first residents moved in the following spring. Mom did not speak to me for 7 months. Then a letter arrived. She did not ask for money. She did not ask me to rescue Tyler. She wrote that she had spent years confusing need with love. Tyler needed her constantly, so she felt important beside him. I was capable and independent, so she assumed I could survive every wound. She admitted that this was not an excuse. At the end, she wrote, I left you alone, because I believed you would always find your way home. I never considered that one day. Home might no longer deserve you. I cried when I read it. Forgiveness did not arrive like sunlight through a window. It came slowly, with boundaries. Mom and I began meeting once a month at a small diner. We talked about ordinary things at first. Weather, work, books. She apologized without asking me to erase the consequences. That mattered. I did not return to Germany. I accepted a nursing position in Columbus and bought a small house 15 minutes from Daniel House. On weekends, I drove to the lake cabin. One summer evening, I sat on the dock with Marcus and several owners from Bennett Restoration. The company had returned to profit. They had elected their own board representative. A young carpenter named Sophia became the first employee, trust chair. We raised glasses to Dad. Later, after everyone left, I watched the sunset turn the lake copper. For years, I had believed revenge meant making the people who hurt me feel my pain. I had been wrong. Real revenge was not destruction. It was refusing to remain useful to people who refused to value me. It was turning stolen money into restored pensions, a stolen house into a safe home, and betrayal into a life that finally belonged to me. My family left me standing alone at the airport. But that was the last time I ever waited for them to come and save me.